Hi, you're welcome to the Manitoban Sports Update. Thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate your time. We have a couple of sports news coming up. We have news from Manitoban Africa Cup of Nations that is taking place in Manitoba, Winnipeg to be precise. We also have updates coming from the Canadian Premier League. Yes, Valour FC, Winnipeg-based Valour FC. They participate in the Canadian Premier League, and also updates from the Bisons. That is the sports team of the University of Manitoba. Now let's start from the Manitoban Africa Cup of Nations. The game has started. Teams prepared. They engaged themselves in series of preparations, and the games have commenced. Now remember, we have 16 teams participating in this year's edition of the Manitoban Africa Cup of Nations. Now, also it's important to put across that it started some 6 years ago, and the most successful team in the Manitoba Africa Cup of Nations in Nigeria. They've won it a couple of times. So over the weekend, the game started, and these are some of the scorelines that we recorded from the Manitoban Africa Cup of Nations. The most interesting, fascinating one was between Nigeria and Cameroon. And guess what? Nigeria were able to wallow Cameroon by 7 unanswered goals. Yes, Nigeria, they scored as many as 7 goals against Cameroon. Not only that, Ghana managed a 2-1 win over Tanzania. Yes, 2-1 it ended for Ghana. And also South Sudan beat Morocco by 2-1. Uganda had 3-2 win over Rwanda. Egypt 2, Eritrea 0. Democratic Republic of Congo also scored Somalia by 2-1, and also had Ivory Coast beating Kenya by 4-1. Canada drew 1-1 with Senegal. So these are the score lines, or these are the outcomes from the 2024 edition of the Manitoba Africa Cup of Nations. You are still watching the Manitoba Sports Update. Thank you once again for your time. Now, from the Manitoban Africa Cup of Nations, let's look at the Canadian Premier League. Yes, here we have Winnipeg-based Valour FC participating in 2024 edition of the Canadian Premier League. Yes, Valour FC. On Thursday, Valour is hosting York United. Now, when you pay a visit to the league standing of the Canadian Premier League, Valour FC are somehow lying 7th on the league log. Yes, on the league position, Valour FC is 7th. They've won 2 matches, they've drawn 1 match, and they've lost as many as 8 matches. So on the league standing, Valour, they have 7 points. They've scored somewhere 11 goals conceded. Number of goals in the ongoing Canadian Premier League. When you look at York United on the league table or the league standing, they are second to Atletico Ottawa. Yes, and mind you, or for the purpose of record, York FC are a Toronto-based side. They are second on the league log with 17 points, 5 points adrift of leaders Atletico Ottawa. On Thursday, they are playing as guests to Valour FC at the Princess Otto Stadium. So ahead of the fixture, the two teams have been preparing. Valour FC are looking at winning the game on Thursday, same as York United on Thursday. They will also want to win the game at the Princess Otto Stadium. So who is going to win that fixture between Valour FC of Winnipeg and York United of Toronto? It will be an interesting match. You can't afford to miss that game. Now let's do some Bisons too. And to be specific, we are looking at the women's volleyball team. They excelled at the end of the 2023-2024 sporting season. Now, they were engaged in the Canada West Championship. They went into the finals of the Canada West Championship, and in the finals, they played against University of British Columbia, UBC. They are known as the Thunderbirds. And in the final, the Bisons were able to beat UBC. Now, let's look at the sets. The first set ended 25-17 for the Bisons. Now with the second set, it also went in favor of the Bisons, and it ended 25-17 in favor of the Bisons. For the third set, it went in the way of UBC. It ended 26-24 for UBC. The fifth set or the fourth set rather, also ended in favor of UBC, and the score was 25-23 for UBC. And the deciding set, the final set, the fifth set, went for the Bisons. The score was 15-12, and at the end of that score, it means the Bisons, or the women's volley team, were crowned champions of 2023-2024 Canada West Championship. Yes, that was a good moment for the volleyball team. They did well. Not only that, the same volleyball team were involved in the U Sports Championship. Yeah, they partook in the U Sports Championship, and they got into the quarterfinals. In the quarterfinals, they played against St. Mary's University. Yes, we are talking about the Bisons, the women's volleyball team. They were in the quarterfinals of 2023-2024 U Sports Championship, getting into the quarterfinals, playing against St. Mary's University, and guess what? They were able to beat St. Mary's University and went into the semi-final. But for the semi-final, they came up. That is, the Bisons came up against the Pandas. That was an interesting game to watch. Looking at the performances of the various players for the Bisons, it was really thrilling, very, very entertaining game between the Bisons and the Pandas. But the game ended in the way of the Pandas. It means the Pandas were able to beat the Bisons. Nonetheless, the Bisons were also involved in a bronze medal encounter, or a bronze medal schedule, a bronze medal game against Acadia University. So this time around, so if you are doing the table, quarterfinals against St. Mary's University, Bisons won. Semi-final against Pandas. Pandas were able to outsmart Bisons, and the bronze medal schedule, it was the Bisons versus Acadia University, where the Bisons were able to beat Acadia University and then won bronze medal in 2023-2024 U Sports Championship. So that was an exciting moment. That was some way, somehow, a good season for the Bisons team. That is the women's volley team. They participated in Canada West Championship and won it for the first time in the history of the Bisons, and also partook in 2023-2024 U Sports Championship, got into the semi-final, got into the quarterfinals, and ended with a bronze medal. That was a good moment for the team. This is the Manitoba Sports Update. Thank you very much for your time. We are wrapping up on today's edition of the Manitoba Sports Update. We've given you updates on 2024 Manitoba Africa Cup of Nations, where 16 teams are participating in that tournament. They are playing for the bragging rights and a lot of accolades, and there is a trophy to win at the end of 2024 Manitoba Africa Cup of Nations. We also talk about Valour FC. Yes, Winnipeg-based Valour FC participating or playing in 2024 Canadian Premier League. Yes, they are hosting York United. And also, we've looked at the performance of the Bisons team for the year 2023 and 2024 sporting season, where they were able to win the Canada West Championship and also partook in the U Sports Championship and also won bronze medal. Thank you very much for watching this edition of the Manitoba Sports Update. See you at some other time. Bye bye.